we have heard a lot, and it doesn't all fit together. For me, at least, it doesn't all fit together yet. And I'm saying yet because the question really is, what can we take away from it, and what do we need to do to get there? Bebop has said perspective 2030. You can give other figures. But the fact is, we are still not there. Inigo said that at the beginning. We don't even really know whether Hyperloop is the problem or the solution. He says it's a solution. I would say the same, because the problems are elsewhere. The problems are, Giorgio gave very conservative figures for traffic growth. I've heard much bigger figures. I don't know which ones are true, but even if transport would not grow, we already have congested infrastructures. We already have a situation where European governments are hardly able to maintain the existing infrastructure. And even if we electrify all the cars and all the trucks, the highways will still be full, because it will be the same number of cars and trucks, even if they're all electrified. So it's not just a question of environment, it's a big question of environment, because transport, as Giorgio I think also mentioned, transport is at the moment not only the biggest single contributor to climate change, it's also, I'm afraid, the one that is slowest in solving the problem. We are definitely not there, neither for air traffic, not for road traffic. Rail is a different issue. There we have capacity problems, I think. So I think all of you probably agree very easily that Hyperloop is the solution. Because Hyperloop is, it is on a good way to become a reality, I think. It has the potential to accelerate Europe's transition to sustainable mobility. It has the potential to give birth to a new European industrial project and beyond Europe. And it has the potential to provide fast and comfortable, practically emission-free transport for passengers and freight, and that's what we need, that's what we want. So what is missing to get there? That's the question. What is missing to get there? And I think we have seen very optimistic announcements of the kind we can build in 2 or 3 years. When I look at it, and I'm not an engineer, I see still a lot of work in engineering. There is still a lot of work. We have very nice papers, but we still have to build and test things, and we have to integrate the system. So far we have tested individual components, but we have not integrated the system, and that needs to be done. That's why my first point is we need quickly larger test facilities. It's a big success what we have seen yesterday in Vietnam, because it's the best that exists in Europe at the moment. But we need more than that. We need to obviously take full benefit of that test facility. And I think what we need to do is to work together and to collaborate and to share. Because only if we join forces, we will move quicker. And then we quickly need a test facility of 3 to 5 kilometers in order to show the full system, to show the integrated system. This cannot be done in Vietnam. So we need a facility, and let's be serious, a 3 to 5 kilometer tube costs 200 to 300 million euros. And the question is, where is that money going to come from? I don't see it at the moment. At least as of today, I don't see it. And then we will very quickly after that need a 30 to 50 kilometer tube where we can have at least test the commercial operation and show that it's actually possible. I will make a small parenthesis. I was in charge of the Trans-European networks 20 years ago. That's when we wanted to build a Transrapid in Germany, and we failed. And we have to make sure that this time we don't fail, because we lost the opportunity of the Transrapid, and I don't think it would be good if we lose again, because we are not in a position to actually go through these steps. So the first point is that we need to work together. We probably need a common program. We need a big European program to really move this forward. If we continue to work in an isolated way in small units, I don't think we will make it quickly enough. We will maybe make it, but Transalpid also took more than 20 years, so let's not take 20 years. So we need that. We need a common structure and a common network of facilities where we really can move forward. And for that we need money. And my analysis at this stage is private funding will not step in at this time. We need at this moment, we need public funding to overcome the steps that I have just mentioned. If we don't get public money, I don't think we will see the private money. We will see the private money afterwards, and I'm sure Lucien knows how to do it. But we first need to overcome this step, simply because if we have a 5-year perspective in front of us, a private financier will not come in. If there's no money to be earned in the first 5 years, there will not be a lot of private finance. So we need the public finance, and my colleagues from former colleagues, or I'm the former colleague from the European Commission, I know a lot about that. So in the long run, yes, one of the big advantages of Hyperloop is that it can be financed privately and it can be profitable, but we are not there yet. So that step is very important, and I think I will insist on that in the work that I expect to do for the Hyperloop development program. The second thing we need, the second very important step, is we need a better shared story about Hyperloop. We hear too many different things about Hyperloop. We hear too many different positions, too many different promises. We need a serious shared storyline that we use with policymakers, with governments and policymakers, decision makers. We cannot convince them if everybody comes and has a better story and says, I can do it better, I can do it faster, I can do it cheaper. Policymakers don't listen to that. They will wait until we have a convincing line which also says how long it will take to get there and what it needs to get there. We need to be honest, we need to be very clear. Now, I have launched a discussion within the Hyperloop development program to really draft such a shared storyline. And the intention is to also share it with all those who are not yet partners of the Hyperloop development program. I will certainly invite the Hyperloop Association to sign up to this, and all the others that are not yet, if I may say in parentheses, yet partners of the Hyperloop development program. But this shared storyline is what we need to convince that Hyperloop is the solution. Today we are not there. It's not, we have not convinced the policy makers. That's why we don't have the money. So this is the second condition for me. And the private investors will also need that. The steel companies like Tata, Posco, the Denys from Belgium, and other companies who are working on this, they also need this credible storyline, because otherwise the private sector will also not step in. So we also need that for the private sector. And the third thing is we need some degree of standardization and regulation. Because again, this is a manner to de-risk the whole operation. If we have a standardization, if we can agree on some of the basic parameters, it will be much more easy for people to step in. And so we really hope also that, at least at European level, we get a regulatory approach soon, and we move forward with standardization and in agreeing some basic principles. Because then that will be the result also of the collaboration. That's why I insist that, that it would be good if we can do this in an open way, if we can share experiences, and if we can collaborate in the test facilities, in sharing knowledge, in order to move the concept forward. So I think if we can move forward on these three elements, then indeed maybe a horizon of 2030 or 2035 is a realistic one. Thank you.